How you doing? Episode 3 of the Auto Draft Show, presented by Burger Bar. Use promo code BIGTIMEBURGER with an A for 10% off your next purchase. Just want to go over a couple things. The Parlay Professor will be out on this episode. We've had an unfortunate death. His dad passed away unexpectedly. So if you guys are watching this show, definitely send some love his way. Joey, we love you. You're an amazing person. This sucks. Your dad was such a huge part of Saugus, Massachusetts, both in the community and in youth sports, both youth and high school, to be exact. So Saugus definitely lost a very iconic person. So just so you know, if you are watching this, the boys got your back. So anything you need, just let us know. So if you guys are watching this, definitely send some love over to old Joey Bucket's way. But we'll try to make this a nice little happy show moving forward. Little recap from last week. Of course, the boys did it again. 3 for 3 on our predictions, including Nick Chubb over Derrick Henry. How are ya? Did a little poll on Instagram. 80% of you chose Derrick Henry. So for the 20%, thank you for listening. And DraftKings lineup produced 180 points. Made a nice little $3 out of a $1 bet. So basically rich. We'll just keep coming with the picks. So you know who didn't produce this week would be my Week 13 duds of the week. Starting with Justin Herbert versus New England, put up 4.36 points. Embarrassing, but are you shocked? I mean, you're going up against the GOAT, okay? The hooded one never is wrong defensively. Offensively, that's just a question mark as a whole. But, of course, New England does New England things and shuts down Herbert in that offense. And, of course, their defense is their best offense once again. Carson Wentz, 4.96 points. Terrible outing, but we all know that Philadelphia stinks. That whole NFC, South? Stinks. I mean, that thing is a dumpster fire. It sucks because one of those teams will make the playoffs, even though they don't deserve it. So that's basically a bye. Forever has them. Sony Michel, 5.8 points against the Los Angeles Chargers. No surprise here, coming off the IR. I didn't expect him to really play that much. I think they got to kind of gracefully bring him back in to a bigger role. 5.8, that seems about right. Cooper Kupp, 7.3 points this week. Terrible outing. Jared Goff was also called out by his head coach. So, kind of knock on Goff, though. I really never had much faith in him to begin with. I think that Sean McVay is kind of playing a Madden-type scenario where he's just controlling the quarterback. So naturally, if Jared Goff starts making his own decisions, they're fucked. So that's why you see that. Now, I do have my must-starts for Week 14. All right, so if you do have them, put them in your lineup. And if you don't, try to find them, trade for them, do whatever you can because playoffs are here. This is usually the first round for a lot of leagues, so it is crucial. So take these advices that I give you. Derrick Henry versus Jacksonville Jaguars. I love this. Jacksonville's ranked 30th in stopping the run. And I think, again, the playbook's out on Tennessee. All they do is hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. He does his thing. Usually runs for a couple tuggies. My guess is probably 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. I just think with Jacksonville, they're so bad that the fact that why would you risk throwing the ball and having an interception when you have Derrick Henry as your running back? I mean, the guy is an absolute racehorse. No one can tackle him. he's just dragging people to the finish line. So I just think the entire game is just going to be this. Right to Derrick Henry all day long. Why risk it throwing the ball with Tannehill when you can just run it, and it's going to be a sure thing. The guy's going to pick up 20 yards every time. So must start Derrick Henry. A little foreshadow for my DraftKings coming up. And then my second must start for week 14, Aaron Rodgers versus Detroit. Detroit is ranked 25th in the league in stopping the pass, and everyone knows Detroit is a dumpster fire this year. They fired their coach, Matt Patricia. They have an intern head coach. It's week 14 of the season. You got 4 weeks left if you're doing the math. And if you're an NFL player, you're playing for contracts, right? So why would you risk it? This game means nothing for Detroit. So I think this is going to get ugly. I think Green Bay is going to blow them out of the water because Green Bay has to keep winning in order to secure that NFC North spot. So I just think this is a game that Aaron Rodgers blows Detroit out of the water with his passing game. So he is a must start for week 14. Now, on to one of my favorite games, start or sit. This is where we like to pick some of the hardest matchups, and we like to see who you would play over which guy for fantasy points. So, we will start with our first one, Matt Ryan versus Justin Herbert. I'm going to start Matt Ryan over Justin Herbert. Little tip for you. The teams that usually play the New England Patriots usually suck the second week after, and that's usually because the blueprint's out on them. Okay, Big Bill shows the entire NFL how to play this team, and then the following week the next team does the same thing. So I'm gonna go on a big whim here and just say the Atlanta defense is just gonna study the New England Patriots tape on Justin Herbert. Herbert's gonna have a terrible day once again, which leaves me in a hole because I can't play Cam and I can't play Herbert. So luckily I kept Drew Brees all year. How you darn? But I like Matt Ryan. I don't have much confidence in him, but I just don't. I have more confidence in him than Justin Herbert getting the job done today because I think the blueprint's out. So Matt Ryan. All right, number 2. Justin Jefferson versus Mike Evans. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson on this one. I just don't have a whole lot of faith that Mike Evans is going to get the ball. Tampa Bay has way too many weapons, and I think Tom Brady loves Antonio Brown. I'm a big follow the money trail. If you're bringing in wide receivers, that's going to tell me that you don't like the wide receivers that you have already on staff. So you bring in a guy like Antonio Brown, I'm going to go on a limb and say, Mike Evans, your numbers are going to get reduced. Just follow the money trail. And Justin Jefferson is a beast. He's having an unbelievable rookie season this year. I love it. I'm going to ride the nice little heat wave that he's taken into Tampa. So, yeah, Justin Jefferson. Now in the tight end spot, we got Robert Tonyan versus TJ Hawkinson. This one's a tough matchup because both defenses play the tight end spot very well. I believe Detroit is 6th and Green Bay is 8th. So not a matchup you want to have for fantasy value, but it's a fun little matchup to play for start or sit. If I'm a betting man, I think it's Robert Tonyan. I think he has a nice little day today. I think Aaron Rodgers gets them the ball early. I just think Detroit's going to shut it down, mail it in. They're done for the rest of the season. There's no reason to get hurt, so you want to keep playing for contracts. So just a lot of little slap tackles, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to carve them up in the air. So Robert Tonyan, you got this one. Now on to another good one, Monday Night Football. Quarterback position, we got Baker Mayfield versus Lamar Jackson. This one's actually a really tough one because Lamar, he can get a couple running touchdowns, which is like 6 points fantasy-wise. So that's huge, but I just don't have a lot of faith in Baltimore. They're struggling this year. You lost the Patriots, and the Patriots are terrible. So, and I've been kind of riding Cleveland all year. I think they've really subtly shown a lot of people that they actually can win. The record's looking nice. And last week's performance was pretty good out of Baker. So, got to ride the old Baker Mayfield train. I'm definitely picking him. For sure. Now, on to DraftKings. What we like to do is Now, on to DraftKings. What we like to do is the classic showdown mode, 11 games for the 1 o'clock slot. And I'm going to read off the guys that I have starting for this week. With my quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. I have him as my must start. It's no brainer. Detroit sucks. They're definitely going to mail it in the last 4 games. And they're ranked, I believe, 25th in passing. So that's a perfect recipe for a guy with an unbelievable arm, pinpoint accuracy, and his team needs to win out. So I think he's going to carve him up. Easy money. Running back number 1, I got Derrick Henry. I just think with Jacksonville, they're terrible. They're 30th in stopping the run. So why would you risk Tannehill throwing the ball and even getting intercepted when you know Derrick Henry's going to get you 20 yards every time he touches it? So I think that game is just going to be a whole lot of this the entire time. And I think Derrick Henry has a huge game on the ground. So easy money there. Running back 2, I got Jonathan Taylor. Phillip Rivers, the check down king, hasn't proved me wrong yet. I love it. Jonathan Taylor gets this real nice, greasy little swing pass yards. So for the cost, I think he's worth it, especially because I kind of splurged another spot on the wide receiver, which is a perfect segue into wide receiver number 1. I got a lot of Browns in my wide receiver lineup this week, starting with A.J. Brown, Tennessee Titans. Jacksonville is terrible also in the passing game as well. And I think that, obviously, if you get into some 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 8s, Tannehill's going to have to throw the ball, and you know who's going to be open. A.J. Brown. Guy's a beast. Thank you, Patriots, for passing on him. Really appreciate that. Cheers, bud. But, yeah. So, A.J. Brown, I think he's going to have a nice little game. I could see him catching one for Tiggy. Now, Brown number 2, I got A.J. Brown. Cincinnati Bengals was hurting for the cap. Money-wise, A.J. was $3,000. I think that's a steal. I think there's maybe a chance that he even shows up and catches a ball. So, I really like the high risk, high reward play. I also like to live dangerously, so A.J. Brown. Then my wide receiver number 3, Michael Thomas. They play Philly. Philly, as we know, stinks. New Orleans, they're going to have to face Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I think it's going to be an absolute INT show. And I think Michael Thomas has an absolute field day once Philly quits after the second half. So I think that is easy money right there. I'm loving my lineup so far. Tight end, I got Jared Cook, New Orleans. Again, playing Philly. Philly stinks. And after Jalen Hurts throws his 3rd INT in the first half, I think the rest of that defense kind of mails it in. So I could see Jared Cook getting a cheap tuggy, maybe like 5 yards in on the goal line. Yeah, I didn't have much money left, and he seemed like a great little pick. And then in my flex spot, I got Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Chris Conley. I just think Jacksonville's going to be behind the entire game, so they're going to have a lot of air raid going on. So having a guy like Chris Conley as your wide receiver is not a bad play. And Tennessee's passing defense isn't the greatest either, so I kind of like that matchup. I think I could see him getting at least 10 points, which would really bail me out there. And then for defense, I'm going to go with the Saints. Easy money. Philadelphia stinks. They're starting Jalen Hurts. They have no offensive line. It's not the quarterback's problem. It's the offensive line. If you can't see players, or if you're always being rushed after 1 second in the pocket, you're not really going to make that many plays, are you? So I love this matchup for the Saints. I think they're going to have a huge day. So book it. And now, with the Parlay Professor out, I like to introduce you to the assistant to the Parlay Professor. This guy. I'm going to try my best. I'm not the greatest gambler in the world, but I'm pretty fucking good at fantasy football. So I'm going to put that knowledge to the test. Humble brag. And I'm going to go down the list with the assistant to the Parlay Professor's picks. And I'm going to start with Atlanta versus the Los Angeles Chargers. The over-under is set at 48.5. I love the under. I don't think Justin Herbert's going to have a great day. And I don't think Matt Ryan's going to have 48 touchdowns. So I love the under there. My guess is that's going to be like a 23-10 sort of ball game. It's going to be pretty low scoring. So love the under, 48.5. Hit it. Next up, we got the Saints at minus 7.5. They play Philadelphia. Philly stinks. And I love the 7.5 pick there. I think the Saints are going to blow Philly out of the water, which makes it easy money for the kid. Next up, I got the Packers at minus 8.5. I mean, the Packers are playing Detroit, and we all know Detroit stinks. Okay? They are terrible. 4 games left in the season. You know they're going to mail it in. You know Aaron Rodgers is going to just make it rain touchdowns out there. So 8.5, that just seems way too easy. I think they're going to hang at least 12 on them, maybe 14. So easy money there. Then I got Monday Night Football, Cleveland, plus 2.5. I think they absolutely shred Baltimore. I just don't see Lamar Jackson doing it on the ground, especially against that front for Cleveland. They're actually pretty good. They got Myles Garrett back. They're looking pretty dangerous. So if running's your biggest weapon, and that defense has a great run game, that's a terrible, terrible matchup for you. So I definitely see him beating him by at least a couple touchdowns in this game. My guess is it's probably like a 10-point win in favor of Cleveland. So market, you heard it first. The assistant to the Parlay Professor's picks are in the book.